Peace and abundance always. Welcome. My name is Peter Abundant, aka Dr. Abundant, PhD and Minister of Metaphysical Sciences, which is the study of going beyond the physical, going deeper into what most people see as literal, and really getting the esoteric knowledge and wisdom that is available to us all around within everything. So we're going to continue our journey into breaking down numbers, numerology, particularly angel numbers. You know, those numbers you keep seeing over and over and over again in weird sequences. And you're really trying to wonder, what's the deal with these numbers? Why do they keep popping up? Why do I keep waking up at this particular time where the numbers repeat themselves? And so we're going to go down into really taking a deep dive into really understanding what these numbers mean. Now, the first thing is angel numbers. Numbers in general are signs. It's a language of the universe. And it really relates to things like synchronicity. When you're on the right path, the universe is really letting you know that you are. It's confirming to you to continue doing what you're doing, continue going where you're going, or it's trying to give you the signals and signs to point you in the right direction, right? We're all on a spiritual journey, a spiritual path. And eventually, we'll make it to the point of understanding who we really are, whether it is in this lifetime or the next. But the objective, though, is to minimize how many times you need to repeat going through this process of learning who you are, which is ultimately self-realization, recognizing that you are a divine spark of what we call infinite source, or AKA God. Today, we're going to get into the lucky number 7, right? 7 is a very, very spiritual number and is identified as one of those numbers that really represent something beautiful when it comes to thinking about numerology in life. So we're going to get into really breaking down what 7 is all about. So that way you have more significance besides just knowing that it is a spiritual number, that it is quote unquote a lucky number. You get some more texture as to understanding what really this number is all about. All right. 7 represents spiritual awakening. It represents introspection. It represents wisdom or inner knowledge. So when you see that number, recognize that if it is appearing in random places and constantly repeating itself to you, it is letting you know to really go within, to really tap into that spiritual wisdom that is there, always there within you, that is looking to reveal itself, express itself. And so when you have things like all of the desires that you wish to manifest, all of the connections and the synchronicities between, people and things and your job and your school, recognize that when 7 starts popping up, that means that it is an indication that you're on the right track. It's an indication that this moment is about spiritual introspection, right? It's about really taking time out to do some contemplation, do some meditation, read, things of that nature to really allow you to evolve, and when I say evolve, I'm not talking about being something you're not. I'm talking about being who you truly are. So when I talk about evolution, it's really about letting go of the false self and really owning and allowing your true self, your consciousness, to express itself. You see? So unlike the nurturing and relationship focused energy of number 6, 7 is more about your intuition, right? It's more about deep introspection. It's more about really tapping into yourself and understanding the importance of knowing yourself, understand the importance of considering deep spiritual ideas, thoughts, and concepts, okay? So this number is about truth seeking. It's about expanding consciousness and connecting with your higher wisdom. It's about recognizing that you are a divine spark, an individualized expression of that which we call the universe, the God, infinite intelligence, grand intelligence is what I call it, right? But it's all the same source, that infinite source that has created everything, but also is an extension of who you are, right? You are an extension of that. It is about recognizing the oneness of all things. And so people drawn to the number 7 are often called to explore different, deeper meanings of life and often ask profound questions and really have to get into trusting their own inner guidance. And so it's really about understanding that the questions that you have about life or about particular areas of your life, recognizing that all the answers are possibly within you already. And so when you recognize that it isn't about finding particular teachers, finding the right book, the right technique, it's really about going deep within and tapping into that divine knowledge, because all of the books, all of the teachings, they're all coming from the same source. They're all coming from that divine intelligence within each of us. Now, though these stories may contradict, they may go against one another, it is still possible for two things to be completely opposite and still exist and still hold truth and still be productive, right? And still work. So you have to recognize that it isn't about the things itself. It's about the deeper meaning of, does it resonate with you or not? And this is why it's important to understand the characteristics of 7 as the number for inner wisdom, right? For inner peace, for spiritual awakening. Because when you awaken spiritually, you identify that it isn't the things that we believe in that have the power. It is our belief in them that actually have the power, right? It is your ability to put energy, time, emotions, focus, attention on that thing that gives it power. It is you that give it power. Okay. So let's get into the core meanings of 7. Again, 7 is about spiritual awakening and enlightenment. Enlightenment is often referred to as, this idea of somebody who is so perfect, so amazing that they have no flaws, they have no gaps, they have nothing that is quote unquote wrong with them. Everything is perfect. That's not the case. Enlightenment represents the understanding of exposing all aspects of self. You see, when we think of light, we bring light into a dark room. That light does is it exposes us to see everything as it is. And so it isn't about trying to change everything and rearrange or clean or do anything. It's about coming into a space with full acceptance. So enlightenment is about recognizing yourself as a whole and complete being, recognizing all aspects of yourself, accepting all aspects of yourself and the reality, right, that we exist in, and then recognizing that it is good. Everything is fine. Everything is great. Once we have the idea of the whole picture, the picture of oneness, the picture of recognizing who you are as a creator of your universe, you see? So it's a sign that you're developing a deep knowledge and connection and awareness about what is going on, what is, you see? And so that is really what enlightenment is about. When you think of lightening something, it is literally just the exposure of all things. And because of that, you gain a deeper understanding, insight as to what it is, who you are, and generally speaking, your relationship to all that is. Okay. Next is inner wisdom and intuition. So 7 is a number of encouragement, right? To trust your inner voice, to trust your intuition, to allow yourself to lead yourself, right? To recognize that something's going on and something is telling me to go left instead of right, right? Something is telling me to communicate with this person and maybe not so much with this person, okay? Something is telling me to take on this hobby and not this hobby. It can be and relate to anything, but it's really about trusting and tapping into that divine inner wisdom that is truly leading you, because that divine inner wisdom is coming from your consciousness, which is your highest, purest aspect of who you are. Next is mysticism and the unknown. So a lot of times we fear the unknown, and that's really our ego, the false self, fearing the unknown. But the thing is, remember when I referred to enlightenment? Enlightenment is about making the unknown known. exposing it. And though when we come into a room with that light, there are still shadows behind the objects that we see. There is more to know. There's more to learn that is still unknown. But we still have a general idea and we still can see the shadows. This is why shadow work is important. This is why it's important to recognize that even though we see everything, we come into a room enlightened and aware, right? Come into a space where we're enlightened and aware, we still acknowledge that there are shadows within the nature of that. And that is okay. That is part of the big picture. And as long as we want to explore the unknown, then we're not in a space where we fear it. We embrace it because we recognize that that is what it is. You see? So with mysticism, same thing applies. A lot of times people have this sense of mysticism being something bad or, almost like witchcraft, but it's just a different art form of manifestation of spirituality, of recognizing the oneness between you and the universe. It's just a different type of relationship, so to speak, but they're all relationships that will deepen your connection with your oneness with the universe. All right. Next is reflection and solitude. This is one of those things that we don't do enough of. Now, I'm not talking about sitting by yourself or being in the living room, playing a video game or watching a movie. I'm talking about really spending time with yourself, taking a walk without your phone on or your headset, right? Sitting in a nice, comfortable space where you can actually just be with yourself and allow yourself to experience your own thoughts, right? And really get into who you are, right? And just not from a place of judgment, not from a place of feeling like, oh, why am I having these weird thoughts? Who cares? There's only you with yourself. So it's really about acknowledging and having this relationship between all aspects of who you are. Your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, unconscious mind, your ego, and your consciousness. And thus just observing and listening and paying attention to what's going on in your mind with full acceptance and understanding and love. You see? So spend time alone, meditate, seek those opportunities to really be with yourself, because nobody, honestly, is more important to you than you. And then finally, a core meaning of the number 7 is higher knowledge and learning. So this is a call to expand your understandings of your relationship with the universe and all that is. So get into learning different things, and that can only be exclusive to you actually just going deeper into your own self. Lots of meditation, lots of self-reflection, contemplation, right? Most of the majority of my understandings in the spiritual realm and the reality of spirituality is really, I received that from going within myself, just observing, questioning, asking, listening, accepting. Okay. And then I got into reading things. And what I found was I would read things from amazing authors, even like old authors, old spiritual teachers. And I would read things in their book. And I was surprised that what I read in the book was the same conclusions and understandings that I came to myself with. You see, that is because, again, the knowledge is all around us. We just have to open ourselves up to receiving it. We just have to recognize that it is within us already, and we have to go in to our spiritual library and just simply access the information. It's all in there. It's all in your DNA. It's all in your consciousness. So spend time with yourself and then get into higher learning, get into knowledge. If you need to read something to get the ball rolling, then do so, right? But then take it a step further. When you listen or read something that somebody has said and resonates with you, take a minute and then just put that down and just sit with that idea, sit with that thought and take it further within yourself, right? Expand on the knowledge from your own point of view and continue to expand your connection with consciousness and that inner wisdom. All right. So let's get into Angel number 7, the divine message of spiritual growth. So these are numbers, the angel numbers are numbers that are essentially going to be repeating sequences. So 77, right? 77, 777, 7777, right? And you're going to see these numbers probably often, maybe just once, but otherwise they come out in these weird moments where you're like, wow, okay, that's different. And now that you understand the significance of 7 and the meaning of 7, it holds more weight. Okay. Because before they were just random numbers and you were like, what's up with that? But now they have some meaning behind it. So they're more significant for you in this moment in time. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to recognize that these numbers really for you are about going within. It's about trusting your intuition. It's about growing a deeper sense of spiritual connection. Okay. 7 is a message that will basically, it's a message to let you know you're on the path of wisdom and enlightenment. Okay. So recognize that 7 is that number that you want to see it, but I don't want you to come from a place of attachment to seeing it, because then that's going to pull you away from the truth, right? The significance of what 7 means. Because the spiritual journey, the journey of wisdom and enlightenment, is not one of being attached to this or that, not feeling a sense of urgency, like, oh, I got to see number 7 today. I got to see number 7 because that'll mean I'm on a spiritual journey, and then you just all looking for number 7. No, it happens more naturally. But it is not something you should think, oh, just because you didn't see number 7 today, that means you're not on the spiritual journey. That means you're not on the path of wisdom. Don't misconstrue it that way. But just recognize these numbers as just indicators, signs of synchronicity, signs that, okay, yes, you're on the right path. Keep going, right? It's a reminder of your spiritual knowledge and inner peace is coming through. Okay. So just trust in that. Now, when you see number 7, 7 is, again, the sign of intuition and focus on spiritual growth. Simple as that. 7, lucky number 7 is about focus and spiritual growth, right? 77 is a confirmation that you're awakening and you're aligning with your higher self. Very powerful number. And now when we get into 777, that is a powerful sign of divine support and encouragement in your spiritual journey. So I like the 3 numbers because I tend to see those often, but that's just how I dial in, right? You might see 7 4s, and that's really, really loud, because remember, the more these numbers repeat, the louder the universe is looking to communicate to you. Okay. And when you recognize that, you really get the understanding of confirmation. So 7777, 4 7s, is a profound awakening, right? You're being called to embrace your soul's purpose, mission. You're truly dialed in to what we're here to do here in this life, in this realm. Okay. So recognize that these numbers are just all indicators and symbols and signs that you're on the right path. Just relax and just simply have fun with it. Now let's get into the spiritual meanings of 7. And this is going to overlap different ideas, different theologies, belief systems, and let you know how the truth can never be faded, right? It can't go away. It will overlap with different belief systems. So when you recognize that, you recognize that there is uninterrupted, unadulterated, just full on truth here. Okay. So like I said before, 7 is considered the most spiritual and mystical of all numbers. Okay. It is a bridge between the material world and the higher consciousness. So it urges you to go beyond the physical and into the spiritual realm. Sacred geometry, number 7, is linked to sacred cycles, including the 7 chakras and 7 days of creation. Now, I talk about creation in my series on Genesis, where I break down the Bible, particularly the book of Genesis, chapter 1 and 2, where we go over the days of creation. In recognizing the 7 days of creation actually are 7 steps of you materializing that which you desire. And so it's important that I bring that up because 7 is the number essentially of creating, right? The 7 steps of creating that which you desire. So again, let's get into the biblical numerology. 7 symbolizes completion, divine perfection, and God's wisdom. Okay. Again, example of that is God rested on the 7th day. Now, the 7th day does not mean God rested. God represents your consciousness. Rested represents you taking a moment to embrace, to admire, right? To feel a sense of completion, accomplishing, and exactly like being grateful, appreciative of that which you created. That's what 7 represents. That is a space of higher consciousness, a space of spiritual awakening, right? Because that spiritual awakening is just a big sigh of relief. It's a big like, and I did this, right? And it is good. Constantly repeated every single day of the days of creation. And it is good. That is a moment of relaxation into observing that everything that you are creating, everything that you are doing are in alignment with who you are and your purpose. Now in the tarot, the Chariot card is the card of 7. That represents spiritual focus, determination, and it represents movement toward enlightenment. Okay? You see how these things are overlapping? It's crazy. It's crazy. In astrology, 7 is associated with Neptune, the planet of intuition, dreams, and spiritual insight. Amazing. So what do you do when you see 7 everywhere? So the first thing you got to do is to spend time in reflection. Remember, the most profound, most amazing, most knowledgeable spiritual teacher is within you. When you learn how to tap in, dial in with your own consciousness, there's nothing you need outside of that. Okay. Yes, I know that sometimes we need to get the ball rolling. And so books, teachers, that is that is the purpose there. It's just to get things going. But by no means do you absolutely have to have those things. Okay. Meditation, journaling, right? Solitude. Those things will push you or allow you to open up your consciousness and release the wisdom that is already there. All right. So the next thing you do, trust your intuition. Okay. Your higher self is speaking. When you start seeing these numbers, amongst other things, there are signs all around you. Remember, you're creating your universe, whether it be on a conscious level, subconscious level, unconscious level. And by that, you are creating also the signs and indications that you're on the right track, or what you're doing is creating a result. You have to just simply pay attention to what those results are. Are those results what you want? And if they're not, then that means you have to figure out how to create a different reality by doing, saying, being, associating, right, with that which you desire. Okay. Seek spiritual knowledge. So besides self-reflection, besides spending time in nature, besides being in solitude and writing in your journals, you can read, you can study, you can explore new wisdom. You can, look at different traditions and cultures, right? That's another way as well. If you're not okay with seeking a spiritual teacher, then you can just simply observe the beauty of all people in different cultures in different parts of the world, and really recognize something spiritual that is going on amongst everybody in a different language, in a different form, in a different way. And it's very inspiring. It's like probably the most beautiful things I love to experience and witness. Then another thing you want to do when you see 7s is connect with the divine. So pray, whatever your form of prayer is, do that. What I suggest with prayer is, if you are somebody who is Christian, I recommend and I offer a suggestion and a recommendation to try praying for completion, try praying for deeper understanding, pray for appreciation of what you have. Okay. Prayer, it is not suggested by me that prayer be about asking God for something, because prayer in that way creates a separation between you and God. What we want to do is connect and be one with God. So your prayer should really be a prayer of recognizing that oneness and thus moving with the intention of creating that which you desire, recognizing that you are one with that infinite source. So don't pray for what you want. Just do the things you need to do to get what you want. That is prayer. That is my kind of prayer, is just being mindful about my speech, my emotions, my language, the people that I'm associating with, and my actions. That is prayer to me, because I am constantly in alignment with that which I desire, especially my oneness and my spiritual journey with the Creator. Okay. Also practice mindfulness. Always observe what's going on in your mind and your thoughts. If you're not into prayer, then meditate. Create and recognize the space between your thoughts and you, whom is having the thoughts. That creates a space of divinity, because you recognize that there is a bubble. There is you, your pure consciousness. There is this bubble. In the beginning, that bubble was really thin, because you feel like you are your thoughts, you are your emotions. And then as you meditate, the more you meditate and recognize, wait a minute, if I am having the emotions and thoughts, then that means I am not the emotions and thoughts. And then that creates more of a space. And within that space is the power to essentially create and have the most amazing experience of life that you can have. And you simply create it for yourself. Okay. And it allows you to create a deeper spiritual journey. So here's an exercise for number 7, the 7 inner wisdom ritual. Okay. So find a quiet space, close your eyes, take 7 deep breaths, focusing and calming your mind. And then ask yourself, what truth am I ready to uncover? Okay. Now write down any insights or feelings that arise. No judgment, no shame, just do the exercise. And then finally, affirmation, I trust my inner wisdom and the divine guidance I receive. So whatever you receive from that exercise, you trust in that. You just simply recognize it. This is not an exercise where you got to feel like you got to do something all the time. The exercise in itself is the doing of it. It is, again, about enlightening. It is about bringing light to your awareness, to the issue, to the thing that you need to heal. Okay. And then once you do that, you just have that awareness that expands your consciousness, allows you to connect deep with yourself, and thus connect with the meaning, the character, the essence of number 7. So final thoughts. The number 7 is about spiritual truth. It's about intuition. It's about higher wisdom. Okay. It's a sign often to slow down, listen to your inner voice, and trust your divine guidance. Okay. Then you move forward. All right. Your spiritual path is unfolding perfectly. So embrace it, enjoy it, have fun. All right. There's no point in chasing after, desiring, wanting spiritual enlightenment unless you're having fun. So allow yourself to be at a space of joy, embracing the moment, recognizing, sometimes you can be impatient, sometimes it can be frustrating, sometimes it could be annoying, but you just keep moving forward and you just recognize, especially when you look back, how far you've come. And you will continue to move further and further along in a faster speed, right? The speed will compound and build a momentum. But anyway, this is 7, okay? This is the number of 7. These are your angel numbers. So when you see 7, you recognize the profound significance of that number, All right. So if that's a number that you've always loved, but couldn't really identify why, that's probably is because you're connecting with your spiritual awareness, your spiritual journey in a way that's a little bit different. Okay. So embrace that. If you are somebody who identifies with another number, that's fine too. That means that that number for some reason speaks to you. And if that number speaks to you, then that indicates where, you are and where you should be, essentially. All right. So keep trusting the signs. The universe and you are in constant sync, whether you believe it or not, because you are one. That is an ultimate truth that cannot be broken or changed. As you grow into this awareness, you will start to see the synchronicities, the signs. This example of the numbers is a very important sign. So take that with you. Thank you so much. Feel free to go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, and get access to this free ebook, The Power of Now. Thank you so much. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.